There are many different accolades that players can earn throughout their career, from the Pro Bowl, all the way up to the All-Decade teams, and eventually the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Each group gets more exclusive along the way. ESPN just released an all-quarter century team put together by Seth Walder and Aaron Schatz. Only players' productions since 2000 count toward this list, but there are some players who began their careers in the 90s. Two Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Famers made this elite list. Alan Faneca and Troy Polamalu headlined the list for Pittsburgh, but Patrick Peterson also made the cut along with several others in the practice squad honorable mention section. Only one of the three former Steelers to make the cut was a one-helmet guy, so we will start here with Troy Polamalu. He made the list along with Ed Reed, Brian Dawkins, and Earl Thomas III. Polamalu flying all over the field epitomized what NFL teams began prioritizing with modern safeties, Schatz wrote. He is fifth among safeties with 103 passes defense since 2000. He also had 80 run stops, which is third among all defensive backs since 2000. He had a knack for making big plays in the biggest moments, including his pick six in the 2008 AFC Championship game against the Ravens. There are plays he made that only Polamalu was capable of with his explosive athleticism and unmatched football instincts. Along with the stat shots listed, Polamalu had 32 total interceptions, 5 total touchdowns, 14 forced fumbles, 12 sacks, and 56 tackles for loss. In 15 playoff games, he had another 3 interceptions and a touchdown with a half sack and 4 tackles for loss. He was a huge part of the Steelers' defenses that brought home Super Bowl 40 and XLAI. Not only is he worthy of this all-quarter century selection, but there is a strong argument for him to be on the all-time roster for the league. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2020 as a first-ballot selection. Faneca was drafted by the Steelers in 1998 and spent the majority of his career there, but he played his last 3 seasons with the New York Jets and Arizona Cardinals. He was the definition of an NFL Ironman with only a few games missed early in his career, including one that was just to rest him in a meaningless game. He helped pave the way for Hall of Fame RB Jerome Bettis and protected future Hall of Fame QB Ben Roethlisberger for the first 7 seasons of his career. He made 9 straight Pro Bowls and 8 straight All-Pro squads, including 6 on the first-team list. He won Super Bowl 40 with the Steelers and left the team just before their other Super Bowl win in 2008. His 6 first-team All-Pro selections are more than any other left guard this quarter-century, Walder wrote. One of his most famous blocks came in Super Bowl 40 as he pulled across the formation and pancaked a defender to spring Willie Parker for a 75-yard touchdown run. He made this all-quarter century list alongside Steve Hutchinson and is another player who is deserving of all-time team considerations at the position. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2021. Because of COVID-19, Polamalu and Faneca were inducted at the same ceremony. Also on the list was CB Patrick Peterson, who spent his final season with the Steelers in 2023 and just retired this offseason. He will be a first-ballot Hall of Famer when he is eligible in 5 years. Walder and Schatz of ESPN also had the unenviable task of putting together a practice squad to act as the honorable mentions section of this list. The practice squad seems unflattering for players of this caliber, but OLB TJ Watt, WR Antonio Brown, DT Cameron Hayward, KR Cordarrelle Patterson, and QB Aaron Rodgers all made the list. There is a strong argument to be made that Watt and Brown were snubbed from the 53-man roster. The wide receivers listed were Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, Terrell Owens, Marvin Harrison, and Justin Jefferson. Antonio Brown's sustained success from 2013 to 2018 is probably worthy of an actual spot on this list, as it stacks up against the best receivers of all time. People will take exception with Watt's omission given who is on the list. Myles Garrett made the cut as an edge rusher as well as DeMarcus Ware, Jared Allen, and Julius Peppers. Stacking their careers against each other, Watt wins out in nearly every statistical category compared to Garrett. According to Schatz and Walder, the decisions were made mostly on statistical output, focusing on peak seasons while still rewarding longevity. If that's the case, then leaving Watt off while including Garrett is hard to justify. Pat Freiermuth couldn't play for the Steelers and not draw comparisons to Heath Miller, so studying his game was inevitable. All Steelers tight ends who have followed Miller have done so, no doubt, including Jesse James and Zach Gentry. But Freiermuth didn't have a choice, either. Thanks to Ben Roethlisberger. Asked by Donnie Chedrick on Breaking Bread if he watches Heath Miller's highlights, Pat Freiermuth spelled it out. "Yeah, I have watched them. When I first got here, Ben would show cut-ups of Heath and him," he said. "You see them just talking through the game and just seeing how Heath saw it, and the connection that Heath and Ben had was just unbelievable. Hell of a tight end." After the Steelers drafted Freiermuth, Roethlisberger immediately heard from Bruce Arians that he was the closest thing to Heath Miller. Even without that planted in his head, Roethlisberger would have wanted to emulate that. Miller was Roethlisberger's security blanket, and the Steelers drafted Freiermuth to be next in line. It only makes sense for him to study how Roethlisberger and Miller worked together, what made them great. And it didn't hurt to hear from the man himself, as well, the two having since forged a relationship. Pat Freiermuth had a strong rookie season with Roethlisberger, at times looking like Heath Miller. He caught 60 passes on 79 targets with 7 touchdowns, albeit for only 497 yards. Roethlisberger retired after that season, so he hasn't had the same level of quarterback play or indeed opportunities. But he did have a 7-touchdown season last year with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Last year, Miller called Freiermuth a quarterback's best friend, praising his knowledge of the passing game. Of course, until he has stability at the quarterback position, he can't develop that years-long chemistry that becomes innate. After a down season in 2023 plagued by injury, the Steelers showed their faith in Pat Freiermuth with a long-term extension. He signed a 4-year, $48.4 million contract that pays him $12.1 million in new money. The 2025 season will mark the first year of that extension, and he will have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Though Rodgers only showed up for the Steelers' 3-day minicamp, Freiermuth indicated he plans to work with his new quarterback in the downtime before training camp. You can bet that Rodgers has certain ideas of what he wants his security blanket tight end to do, too. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Green Bay Packers will face off against each other in Week 8 of the 2025 NFL season on Sunday Night Football. That game will feature new Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers going up against his old team and his replacement in Jordan Love. While that game is still quite a long time from now, the two teams are being connected ahead of the upcoming campaign. Now that Rodgers is in Pittsburgh on a 1-year deal, the Steelers are likely to pursue any move they can make to improve their Super Bowl chances. Making a move for one of the former superstar quarterback's old weapons could make a lot of sense for both teams. As for the Packers, their wide receiver room is stacked with talent. Right now, they have Romeo Dew, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, Savion Williams, and Dontavian Wicks as their top options, and also have Bo Melton on the roster. One analyst has suggested a trade between the two teams that would send one of Green Bay's many wideouts to Pittsburgh. CBS Sports analyst Cody Benjamin has suggested Watson as a potential trade target for the Steelers. Watson may well be the most gifted player in the Packers' wide receiver room, but there's a reason Green Bay spent 2 early draft picks at the position this April. The 26-year-old veteran has missed multiple games due to injury in each of his first 3 NFL seasons, giving the Pack a true boom-or-bust experience on the perimeter, Benjamin wrote. With both Matthew Golden and Savion Williams in line for significant roles as rookies, might the Packers be willing to sell Watson as he recovers from an ACL tear? Rodgers might have to wait until later in 2025 to reunite with the speedster as a result, but the potential for late-season fireworks might make the gamble worthwhile. Since being drafted with the number 34 overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, Watson has failed to live up to the hype that he came into the league with. He has been a good deep threat, but has not been able to develop into being more than that. In 38 career games, Watson has racked up 98 receptions for 1,653 yards and 14 touchdowns. Pittsburgh needs a deep threat. Rodgers could work wonders with a 1-2 punch of DK Metcalf and Watson. While the young wideout will miss time due to the torn ACL, he'll return at some point in the season. Adding him to the roster would add a lot more firepower to the Pittsburgh offense, which could be worth the risk and cost of acquiring him.